let's talk about some of the fun stuff though, man. So like, what are things like for you now, man? Like, I know, like Xander's giving me some tidbits here and there, but I know you showed up like a beast, and your girl's loving you right now. So I just want to like get an idea of what life is like for you right now, man.
I I gotta tell you, man. So, like, just in terms of like percentages, prior to joining this program, and I'm not joking, this is not an exaggeration. I literally had about a 2% chance of getting and maintaining an erection. And I mean, like, if I did, it was like I was losing it. Like during, because like, I would get in my head, I would, something would happen and I would lose it. Um, Geez, man, I think the last time that I didn't get an erection, and we can go into this like story a little later, but like I would
Oh,
say it
you're
was
good. You're
in
good.
no.
Go for it, man. Freestyle.
Okay,
You're good.
yeah, I would say in late November when I was on vacation, and because of the program and the tools that like the members equipped me with, Xander equipped me with, I was able to get out of my head and reverse that, and actually I was able to actually have like a great sexual encounter. And really quickly too, Dan, I told Xander and the guys on the call this before I got on this before I joined the group. Um, Me and my girl would be like shocked if I was able to actually get and maintain an erection. And it's so good now that like if I don't get one, where so like she's like shocked. She's like, "What the hell? Like, what's going on?" And I never thought that I would reach that point in my life, man, where like I would be surprised, like I would be shocked, or like she would be shocked that like I didn't get one. So when you say life changer, dude, it changed my life, and I never thought I would be in that position. So
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's night and day right there. That's beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Totally. Can you flesh that story out a little bit, Chad? Because that's a great story on how, because that story illustrates how you can get in your own way. Because you were going to do something really special, right? You were planning a vacation for you guys. Because just to get some context, Chad had already been doing, he'd already gotten really good to where he wasn't having any problems, right? Where his erections were on point. But now he wants to put together his vacation and bring his woman on this vacation. And tell me a bit how that got into your head a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were on vacation, and it's a beautiful vacation, beautiful time. It's a strictly couples resort that we're at. So, I want like, the sex to just be mind blowing, and like, and these were like the kind of thoughts that I would have before I joined the program, where I would treat like, like sex like a test or like some sort of exam that I had to pass, and like I would just put all this pressure on me. And when we were there, I began to do that. Like I began to like, like initiate, and she stopped me because one of the things too that this program really emphasized and helped me with is like how great communication is with your partner. And so, when I finish a call, like I'm going to her and I'm talking to her about it, like, what I learned, what my homework is and things like that. But I remember when we were on vacation, she stopped me and she said, "Hey, like, what's going on?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "You're not touching me like you want to touch me. You're touching me like you're timid, like you're not touching me like aggressive like you want. Like I'm used to you doing." And I stopped and I thought to myself, and I'm like, wow, like this is why like I can't get it, like I don't have an erection, or like I'm not like really into it. And we both laughed about it then and there. And once, she said that to me, I said, "You're right." And I snapped out of it, man. And I touched her like I wanted to touch her. I got an erection. We had a great sexual experience. And it was there was a time like prior to this where like if that happened, man, I would just get down on myself, and I would get upset, and I would just like lose focus, and I would just like just my emotions would just be so out of whack. And I feel like now I have the tools to deal with like when things like that happen, where like I can reassess myself and say, like, what are you doing? Like, you're not touching her to turn yourself on. Like you're touching her the way you think she wants to be touched, which is like something that doesn't work for me. So I learned that.
Or for her,
So,
obviously.
or
She brought it up.
exact,
Right.
exactly. Or for her, you're right.
I think
Mm-hmm.
it's so great too that you guys have such great communication. That you guys really worked on this as a team. You guys were able, because I always found that to be super cool when you communicate vulnerably, right? Like you're vulnerable as a matter of fact, like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm going over. It has nothing to do with you, but this is what I'm working on, and these are the steps, right? And you don't have any shame behind that. Like, then it's almost like that person gets on your team, and then it's like, I've seen that happen time and time again, man. Just the fact that it seemed like you even had it on a very high level, the support, because of how you communicated with your partner and how you brought her into the circle and brought her into the fold. So I think that's really valuable, advice.
And Dan, let me just add to, man, like when you say that, like you're right, it was on such a higher level, because even prior to joining, like we discussed it. I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is the program I'm thinking about joining. What do you think? And she's like, hey, like if it's gonna better you, then that's gonna benefit us. Like, so go for it. And like I said, man, like it would reach a point, man, where like once after the calls were over, she'd go to me like, hey, so what happened on the call? Like, what's your homework for this week? Like, what, like, what's the plan of attack? Like, what are we going to do? So it would be things like that. And like, she would implement little things like to try to help me out when we would do things, whether that be no pressure sex or like, things like that, or like, meditation, like it could be like she would do like erotic meditations with me, things like that to like spice things up for us. So it was great, man. But like you said, like including her in my journey, I would say, man, was a huge part as to like why I was successful as fast as I was, because I had somebody there like helping me out,
Working
like
with
helping
you.
me along the way. 100%.
You're not working against you. But yeah, it's so cool
Exactly.
too that she understood, like, and she empowered you, right? Like because I think as men we have to know, like, okay, this is what we need. Let's go for what we need, because I know this is what I need. But the fact that she was also there as a piece of that to help provide you with that support, and that's huge. That's huge, man.
And I want to bring up here too is that Chad led that to happen, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that came out. I'm thinking about joining this program, right? He was the one that was open. Like after the calls, he's talking to her about the calls and what they do. And then she starts getting comfortable. She starts asking him about the calls. So, with that, that allows, I'm sure, Chad, that allowed your anxiety to go down quite a bit. You've got a partner that's on your team and working together with you, as well as the fact is this story you just told is that the fact that you shared all this with her, she was able to identify what you were doing that was not the same, right? She was able to coach you actually out of that situation so that you turned it all around. I mean, how many people would be in that situation? They're on vacation, things aren't going the way they want, the erection's not going the way they want, and they start getting in their head, and it starts spiraling out of control, and it becomes like a horrible experience, instead of where you guys ended up, where she's like, here, this is what I'm noticing. I mean, you're not touching me the same way, you're not approaching me the same way, and she's coaching you, and then you guys are laughing about it instead of getting all upset, and then you have a great sexual experience throughout this vacation. I want every guy to listen to that, because when you're sharing stuff, I find most women will be open to this and be helping if you just share it with them instead of try to hold it inside.
Yeah, and it's the leadership in which you shared it. I
Yes.
can just tell that the way that the leadership in which you're like, this is what we're doing, this is what I'm doing, and you're leading her into there so she could feel confident and safe following you there and being a part of your team. And that was something I think that is a little nuance that a lot of guys get caught up with. Whereas like when you're kind of like, doing it like that, then it's making her unsure. But like when you're certain of your path and you're certain of where you're going as a team, and you brought the team together, man, and that's really cool.
It's
Thanks,
like
man. You're
it's
absolutely
that
right.
masculine vulnerability. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say you're right about that. Like I would say, like that's one thing I feel like she truly appreciated, like being a part of that journey. Like me voicing to her like how I'm feeling, or like just like me being open about it. So she 100% appreciated that, man. So
yeah, that's great, man. That's great. And especially because she's not guessing in her head, like you're thinking it's her, or like, because like I like one of the things that Xander said that his ex-wife said one time was like, if you keep me in the dark, I'll fill it with monsters. And that was like something that always stuck with me. It's like, damn, it's so important for us to communicate effectively, and like that's a beautiful example of that.